Welcome back to Year 4 of FernClan. Apologies for the long wait, I had to work through some serious art block, and it also took me a long time to adjust to the schedule at my new job. The biggest change with this year is that I've switched the game mode from Classic to Expanded, meaning that cats can get sick and have permanent conditions in-game. I know that the latest ClanGen update added these things into Classic mode, but I played this year before the update and I'm not changing it back. As usual, I want to give a trigger warning for animal death. Proceed at your own risk. There's no animatic this episode, so let's just get right into the cats, starting with StarClan as per usual. Python Bubble was killed saving Applegale from a falling tree during a storm at the very beginning of the year. Fringefleck died of an infection in a broken bone, which she got from a fight with a large dog. On her deathbed, she finally told Shrubfreckle why she tried to feed him deathberries all those moons ago, back when he was a kid. She'd been tricked by the Dark Forest into believing that all the outsiders joining the clan were going to destroy them from the inside. She now realizes she was tricked, and it felt good for her to get that off her chest before she died. Daisy was killed by a Lupine Clan patrol when he was attempting to save some Lupine Clan kits playing near the border. I do have a bit of lore here for you. Daisy was the loner that Ravioli was following when he got attacked by the dog late last year, and Daisy is also the one that saved Shrubfreckle's life by helping to drive the dog away before it could kill both of the FernClan cats. Bitterfoot was a kitty pet that joined after FernClan cats rescued him from his burning house. Shortly after recovering from his burns, Bitterfoot caught Yellowcough and sadly never recovered. Moving on to the living cats, Fernstar has appointed Shrubfreckle as her new deputy following Fringefleck's death. Shrubfreckle has stepped up gladly to his new role, but can't help but wonder if Fringefleck would approve. He hasn't told anybody her secret and likely never will, because he wants her to go down in history as a strong warrior and loyal deputy, not an attempted kit killer. Fernstar lost her first life to Whitecough this year. She's just relieved that it was her, who has many more lives to spare, that died, instead of one of the several other sick cats at the time. She was deeply saddened by the loss of both her mother and her deputy this year, and has thought about retiring on multiple occasions, but she's pulling through for the sake of her clan and her apprentice. Curlfall, surprisingly, did not take any of last year's kits as an apprentice. Instead, she chose one of a new litter that joined with her mom in the middle of the year. Streak Kit wanted to be a warrior when he was very small, but it was just because he was too young to really know what being a warrior actually meant. By the time he was 6 moons old, he realized that he hated the thought of harming another living being, even prey animals. Curlfall gave him catmint to wear, officially starting the tradition of medicine cats in FernClan wearing herbs in their fur. Streakpaw is excelling at his medicine cat training, but there is a bit of a damper on it because his first patient is his own brother Mousepaw, who has been sick with Yellowcough since before even becoming an apprentice. Mousepaw was appointed a mentor along with his siblings, but has been too sick to do any training. At 132 moons old, Laurel Blaze is by far our oldest warrior, and it's a surprise that he hasn't retired yet. Although now that his apprentice, Sappaw, has become a warrior, he is thinking about retirement more and more. He's really settled into living with other cats and was a great teacher not just to his own apprentice, but to all the young cats in the clan. Conquer is the mother of Streakpaw, Mousepaw, and their 2 other littermates. Conquer was a loner her whole life, drifting wherever the winds took her. When she got pregnant, she decided to settle down until the kits were old enough to travel, just like she's done before. But she didn't realize this territory was already claimed. She was found by Linkstripe and his apprentice shortly after she gave birth. She thought Linkstripe was a charming young Tom and took him up on his offer that he stay with the clan while her kits grew up. It was only meant to be temporary, but she already knows her kits have no intention of ever leaving FernClan. She got her scar in a scuffle with a dog almost immediately after recovering from birthing her litter. I like this grumpy old lady. Bubbling Ash has just been chilling all year. He was captured by Two Legs for a few days and returned with a rainbow collar that he wears with pride. Pun fully intended. Applegale mentored Locust Paw, and when she became a warrior he puffed out his chest, proud to have trained such a wonderful cat. He liked it so much that he immediately took on another apprentice, who we'll get to later. Applegale helped Curlfall a lot before she finally took on an apprentice of her own, at one point spending so much time digging up herbs that his paws were sore for days afterwards. Swallowback didn't do much this year. At one point he was worrying about what sort of legacy he'll lead after he's gone, and asked Curlfall about it. He and Ashen Whisker still have mutual crushes on each other that they both think are unrequited. Ashen Whisker mentored Galepaw and helped him through some mixed emotions he had about growing up never knowing his biological mom. Ashen Whisker is also officially the first parent in FernClan to live long enough to see their kit become a warrior. The newly named Goldbeam was honored for his insight at his warrior ceremony. He's embarrassed by his mom's enthusiasm, but still loves her nonetheless. Also, a fun fact that's equal parts sad and adorable. When Goldpaw became an apprentice, his grandma Ringo Starr was watching over him and was proud of his growth. I really wish the two of them could have met in real life, because I think they would have had a really cute grandma-grandson dynamic. Lynx Stripe lost his tail following a fight with a fox and subsequent infection of the wound. He's still getting used to having no tail, as it affects his balance while running and climbing quite a lot. Rushpaw was mentored by Bubbling Ash, which I think was a very good choice for mellowing out his rambunctious and bullying attitude from his kittenhood. During his apprenticeship, he got into a scuffle with a small dog he met on patrol, but he claims it was a huge dog that he bravely chased away from camp. Rushglade was honored for his bravery upon becoming a warrior, so maybe he even had Fernstar fooled. Or maybe not. I've also decided that these two are half-brothers, both abandoned by the same she-cat because she didn't want single-kit litters. Galeheart and Dustflower are currently both being treated in the medicine den for injuries they've recently acquired. Galeheart's leg was mangled after he got attacked by a large, bloodthirsty kitty pet named Bigwig. Dustflower has a fox bite, which I forgot to draw, so just assume it's on the other side of her body. At their warrior ceremony, Galeheart was honored for his lightheartedness, although Fernstar wasn't sure if he'd outgrown his childish quirks or love of pranks, and Dustflower was honored for her compassion. Swallowback gave Galeheart some forget-me-not flowers because they match the color of Galeheart's eyes, and he wears them as a little wreath around his head. Our last two warriors are Sapwhisker and Locust Shade, who have both grown into fine young she-cats. At their warrior ceremony, Sapwhisker was honored for her friendliness, and Locust Shade honored for her insight. Both of them are impatiently waiting for their brother Icepaw to finally join them in the warrior's den. Yes, I have changed his name to Icepaw. It's very minor, but it was bugging me that we now had an Icypaw and an IV-Paw in the clan. This name change is a retcon, so in canon he has always been named Icepaw. He is currently apprenticed to Lynxstripe and has missed a lot of training due to Whitecough and Lynxstripe's injuries. Icepaw is getting more and more annoyed by his denmates because they're so much younger than him and their antics get on his nerves. Ivypaw and Riftpaw are the other half of Conker's litter. Ivypaw couldn't wait to become apprentice and was overjoyed to get Applegale as his mentor. Fernstar has taken on Riftpaw as her own apprentice, in hopes to steer her righteous personality in the right direction. Both of them are sad their brother Mousepaw can't train with them, and they're looking forward to when he gets better. Even almost a year after Python Bubble's death, the Elder's Den is still feeling empty without her. Silver Clover hasn't been quite the same since. She seems more confused and lost than before, and she has gone on quite a few long walks, deep in thought. River Spots and Cicada Chaser are doing their best to keep her company and cheer her up, while also mourning themselves. I have another retcon here to talk about. In the first episode of this series, I said that River Spots was the father of Red Star, leader of Lupine Clan. At the time, he was Red Dash, the deputy. I'd miscalculated the age difference between them, and while it's technically possible, it would have made River Spots a very young father. So instead, I've now decided that he was Red Star's mentor, and the two of them were quite close before Red Star started, killing people. Speaking of which, let's see how the other clans are doing. Lupine Clan went to war with Ripple Clan this year, and it was immediately clear that Red Star had bitten off more than he could chew this time. He was emboldened by his easy victory against Mole Clan last year, but Ripple Clan is a much more fearsome opponent. Lupine Clan came out of it the clear loser, and Red Star is still bitter about it. Quite a few lives were lost, including Heatherpaw, the 13-moon-old Lupine Clan medicine apprentice. I don't normally include dead cats in this part of the video, but I wanted to include Heatherpaw because otherwise she would have never gotten the chance to be mentioned at all. Her death was what finally allowed Dahlia Honey to convince Red Star to surrender, because they had gone from 3 medicine cats at the start of the war to just 1 by the end of it. And if you're wondering what happened to Lightning Leaf, she'll come up later. As you can see, there has been quite a change in Mole Clan's positions of power within the last year. Oatstar slowly lost all 9 lives to a mysterious and incurable illness, and some within the clan are taking this as an omen that StarClan disapproved of her, although they all disagree on what exactly StarClan's problem with her might have been. Spikestar is nervous about being thrown into this role so soon after being made deputy, and has been allowing his own deputy, Eldersight, to make most of the decisions for him. In brighter news, Dusk Freckle has finally taken on an apprentice. The 7-moon-old Creekpaw is the final surrogate son of Oatstar and her mate, and he's very sad that only one of his moms lived to see him become an apprentice. Ripple Clan was also deeply affected by the war that happened this year, although not as much as Lupine Clan was. 2 Ripple Clan kits were murdered by Red Star shortly before the start of the war, and during the war itself an elder and the medicine cat Shadeapple were killed during a raid on Ripple Clan's camp. It was this raid that prompted Lightning Leaf to leave Lupine Clan, as she could no longer bear to share a clan with such cruel cats. Auburn Star accepted her, as her services were greatly needed in the wake of Shadeapple's death. Auburn Star's personality has changed from vengeful to grumpy this year, and I'm not sure if it's because the war took the fight out of him, or if he's just mellowed out with age. He is very much aware that someone in his clan went behind his back and killed Lupine Clan's medicine cat apprentice less than a moon after Shadeapple's death, and he very much wants to know who it was. And that wraps up this episode of FernClan. Let me know if you have any full name ideas for Streakpaw, Ivypaw, Mousepaw, and Riftpaw. I will see you next time. Goodbye!